guy, Mr. Man singing there, Jerry King. She doesn't just look good, she smells good too, by the way, just so you know.
Thank you.
I'm one of the few who get to experience, well, smell's a bad word, the fragrance.
Fragrance, yes.
Fragrance is a better word.
Yes, thank you. Well, I was telling Tom, I said, I apologize if I smell too much because I've kind of got the cold going on, so I may have overdone it. And he said, "There's no such thing."
No,
not for a woman. Not for a woman.
Not for a lady.
Absolutely,
No.
guys do it too much. Way too much.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah,
trust me, I know.
Yeah.
I know. Good morning. Good morning.
Who's your guest?
This is Tom Rebman.
Oh, Tom, you can't hear anything?
No,
Well, welcome to the club. We've got a headphone deal today.
Okay.
Are you recording over there?
I can hear you just in the room. So
okay.
I'm good.
Well, as long as
there is a volume on there if you want to mess with it. Maybe somebody can come in here and help Tom's headset. I don't know. I'm confused by everything.
Got it now?
Oh, you got it. Okay.
Okay, fabulous.
Never mind. And your camera just got jolted. I think you're recording, so.
Yeah, I was just going to put a little bit on Facebook.
There you go.
There you go. Okay, there. Okay, so the reason I have Tom here today, it's just the stars have aligned this particular month. You know, I talked a little bit a couple weeks ago about the homelessness story that I was in the process of writing.
Right.
And I kind of foreshadowed that a little bit because I thought rather than waiting until late in the game to start talking about it, we wanted to talk about the weather changes and how that affects the homeless and to try to encourage people to do something about it. Well, the December issue is now out, and the homelessness story, Shelter Skelter, is available for everybody to read, both the publication and online, which I encourage everybody to do, and I would love to hear feedback from that because it's a collection of opinions and information both from shelters, people on the street, homeless people, people who have been homeless and have gone through shelters and now have gotten back on their feet and are back in mainstream society. And as part of my research, I came across a page called Homeless and Hungry. And so I like the page, and I've been following it along with a couple other homelessness type pages. And Tom Rebman is the author behind the Homeless and Hungry Facebook page. Right. And I find out a few days ago, guess who's in Ocala as a part of his journey, you know, through several different cities to explore authentic homeless living. And I'll let him tell you a little bit more about that. So when I found out he was right here in Ocala and we've just done this story on homelessness, I thought, okay, I have to meet him, and I want him to be on as a guest because obviously part of what he's doing is a mission, and I thought the media platform here at the radio station and through Ocala Magazine Radio would be just another avenue for him to be able to have his platform. So I want to thank him for being here this morning. And so tell us a little bit about yourself historically and how you became the homeless and hungry man, as people call him on Facebook.
Well, actually, they call me the homeless teacher, but I'd be happy to share with you.
Sure.
I'll just say I went in the Navy at age 17 and then retired in 2001. And so I have a military background, and then I did a few things in business. I won't toot my horn, but I decided to be a teacher and went back to Stetson University, got my elementary education bachelor's, and then got my master's in teaching reading. And I was in my third year of teaching last year. And I came up with a bright idea that my students, I was in a Title I school that was extremely impoverished. My students weren't going to read a book over the summer. So since me and my wife had been feeding the homeless and taking food to homeless camps, I came up with this bright idea, hey, I'll go homeless. All the students will want to see me, you know, we'll work for food and suffer and live in the woods, and they'll pay attention. So they did, and so did everybody else. And so we had like, I don't remember the exact numbers because honestly I'm so sleep deprived I can't see straight, but I don't know, 5,000 people liking our page like in a month. And so once I did get home and it was over, the awareness that it brought to the community unintentionally, totally organic, was amazing. And so a perfect storm happened in Orlando. You had Rethink Homelessness create their Cardboard Stories YouTube hit that got 4 million views, and that's Andre Bailey and the Central Florida Commissioner on Homelessness. And you've had homeless advocates working there, and et cetera, and plus you had the new Coalition for the Homeless, I think it's $10 or $12 million facility open. So there's all eyes on Orlando, and the awareness that it brought to everybody just changed the city completely. Like not overnight, but over the course of months, everybody noticed. Even the homeless people downtown, because I kept going downtown. I was down there the day after I got home. I couldn't even sleep. They're getting more service than they've ever seen. Now, I don't want to be feeding people in public. I want them off the streets.
Right. Absolutely.
So through a lot of discussions with my family and friends and confidants that I'd met along the way that were in the homeless business, I decided to go homeless in Florida for 30 days, take this year off teaching. Not just homeless in Florida, I'm then going to do homeless in the United States after this campaign. I'm 53, so I need a little break in between so I can recoup, because I'll be honest with you, I don't know how people live on the streets for long periods of time.
Well, if you're listening or watching and you have access to your Facebook, I encourage you while you're listening or watching to go search Homeless and Hungry and like the page so that you can keep up with what's happening, because there really is a lot of information. And I love the fact that there's stats. I've seen some of the stats, within so much time, you've seen this many homeless people, or you've had this many people give you money. And I mean, it really brings to life the truth behind homelessness. And, listen, there's a lot of people that will do these social experiments, for lack of better words, where they say, okay, I'm going to live a certain way for a certain period of time. And you find out later it's not authentic. They go out and they live this certain way, but then at night they go back to a hotel room somewhere,
or they have camera crews, and that's why I haven't gone that route.
Right, and things of that nature. And so that's what I really appreciate about your efforts, is that it's authentic. I know, for example, yesterday talking to him, I said, he had just got done meeting with the mayor and several people, and we were talking about that conversation, and I asked him about the radio show and where it was, and I knew that it was pretty far, from downtown and that area. And so I said, do you want me to pick you up and give you a ride? And he's like, no, this is authentic. I mean, I'm sticking by the rules, and I'm not accepting free rides and things out of, charity. I'm really doing this. And I was like, wow, oh, okay. All right. So I really appreciate that about what you're doing, because it's authentic. And so I just wanted to say that. And so I do encourage everybody, if they're listening to, please go ahead and like that while you're thinking about it, so that you can follow the story. I think the mission and the knowledge is so powerful. And I know you've said, even just in the short amount of time that you've been living homeless, you've seen your hands change and your face change. So tell us a little bit about what you've experienced living homeless.
Let me just say this, that I want to begin with what I'm trying to do is make my whole object, and it's easy for me to win, is I just want the public to understand that the homeless are not the people you see, the vagrants downtown panhandling and that. 40% are families. So that being said, when you're in the elements, I was with a 60-some-year-old woman in another camp, not in my camp, last night, and I slept in a tent last night. And when you're out in the elements, I have blisters on my feet, I have shin splints, I walk well over 12 miles, 10 to 12 miles a day has been my average since I've been here. So you're walking a lot, you have shin splints, and when you're 53, your back hurts, especially when you're sleeping on the ground, and you get about 3 hours of sleep. I can't go into my camp. It's in a very populated area on 301, so I can't go in till after 11 o'clock because I don't want anybody to see me go in the woods. They might call the cops.
Right.
So I go hide in the camp, and then you wake up at 3 in the morning, so cold you can't feel your feet because it's 30 degrees outside. You could be in a sleeping bag, but it's bad. So you're just beat to death constantly, and you're trying your best to get an opportunity. But as I proved in Orlando, applying for over 150 jobs, there's no jobs to be had. And that's not just for the homeless. Our economy stinks.
So you're actually applying for jobs while you're out there?
Yeah, not too many here, because I'll be honest with you, it's been a whirlwind since I came into Ocala. They have so embraced my ideals. As a matter of fact, what I talked to the mayor about yesterday was, look, I believe a public awareness campaign is #1.
Yeah. Tom and Kelly, we need to take a little break. We're up against that halfway point, so we'll take a little break and be right back to Ocala Magazine Radio with Kelly Hart and Tom. What's your last name?
Redman.
Tom Redman. Okay, got it. Oh, yeah, I heard you say that before we went on the air. While I was trying to fix my headphones. All right, we'll take a little break and check up on the weather and a couple of commercial spots, and we'll be right back with Kelly Hart and Ocala Magazine Radio.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. A nice day today with sunshine and a few clouds, the high 63 to 67. Tonight will be clear and chilly with a low of 34 in the coldest inland spot to about 48 along the coast. Tomorrow, partly sunny and mild, the high 65 to 69. And for Sunday, mostly sunny with a high of 66 to 70. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Your home is safe, Or is it? AA Lock, Dock, and Security. The name has been a staple in Ocala since 1985. Do you have the right equipment in place to have peace of mind when you are at home or away? AA Lock, Dock, and Security has the right people to install and monitor your home or business. Call today for a free on-site security analysis. Call 867-1965. AA Lock, Dock, and Security, 219 Northwest 10th Street, 867-1965.
Hi, Danny Warfel here. Get moving with Florida Credit Union's fast and easy loan approval process.
Let Florida Credit Union start up a new car loan for you today. No more waiting, hassles, or stop signs. You can even apply online. With a strong financial team behind you, you can enjoy great rates and fast approvals.
It's all about personalized service and a streamlined process.
Florida Credit Union, connecting your money to your life.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Happy holidays from all of us at WOCA.
Hey Ocala, this is Kelli Hart, Executive Editor of Ocala Magazine. Did you know last year Ocala Magazine won more awards in excellence than any other publication in Florida? And this year, Ocala Magazine was named Best Consumer Magazine in the state. Now you can join me every Friday at 10 a.m. on Ocala Magazine Radio, where we bring the pages of Ocala Magazine to life, right here on The Source. Ocala Magazine thanks you for making us #1. And remember, there is only one Ocala Magazine.
Legally Yours, brought to you by Fuller & Fuller Attorneys at Law. On the air every Wednesday morning at 10:30 a.m. with John Fuller, a board-certified civil trial lawyer for over 25 years. John welcomes your questions, from business to complex family matters to legal disputes. So tune in every Wednesday morning at 10:30 a.m. for Legally Yours with John Fuller, right here on WOCA 1370 AM and 96.3 FM, The Source.
Hi, this is Robin. May God's happiness, love, and joy be with you and yours this holiday season. Merry Christmas.
All right, let's return to Kelli Hart. It's 18 minutes after 10 o'clock, and we're learning about homeless and hungry.
Yes.
Yeah. Very interesting, by the way.
It is very interesting, and I can tell you just in the research that I did for this story, and you know, I've been working with the homeless on a minuscule level, knowing now what I know. What I've been doing the last few years with Operation Feed 100 and things has been so minor. Now that I went out and really sat down and talked with people, and the knowledge that I have now, there's so many things that we, even though we're really trying to do good and we think, oh, I'm really doing this really good thing, you know, here's a bag full of food and canned food and things, have a great day, and then we forget that this person has to now carry this around all day long. We were collecting all kind of canned foods that some of them needed to be prepared. Where are they going to prepare this food?
My favorite is giving them a whole frozen turkey when they're homeless.
Yeah, okay. I have not done that one yet, but
wow.
my point is the intention is good, but without the knowledge, we really don't even understand how what we're doing is almost wasted energy in the fact that these people have nowhere to store their food. They have nowhere to prepare their food. They have to lug it around all day. He was talking about a backpack that he got last night and what a huge difference it made just in having something he can put over his back versus something with a handle that he's carrying around all day long. And so much that I learned in even just the sleeping arrangements. You know, we think, well, we'll just give the homeless these blankets and that will keep them warm, and then we've done our deed. And what we forget about is the fact that in Florida, even if it's not rainy, if it's dewy or cold, and they're laying on the ground, all of this moisture will soak through the blanket. It will soak through the clothes to the skin. And now you're dealing with someone who's wrapped in a cold, wet blanket all night, which is bad enough. But then they wake up, and what do they do with this cold, wet blanket? Where do they wash it? Or where do they store it? A lot of people will find hiding places and nooks and crannies to put their belongings, just hoping that when they come back the next day, it's not gone, because then if it's gone, they have nothing. But, you know, where do they wash it? Where do they store it? How do they tote it around? So many things that never even dawned on me.
Are the answers there? I mean, are you finding out the answers to those questions?
I have the solutions. It's very simple. Well, it depends on which homeless community you're talking about, because let me give you a couple of quick statistics. 50% of the chronically homeless, and the chronically homeless are people that have been on the street over a year, they're over 60 years old, or they have a mental disability or physical disability. That's the chronically homeless. Now, that population is never going to get themselves off the street. Right. They're over 60. They have a mental disability like schizophrenia or whatever. They have one leg or whatever their physical disability. Those people, there's only one proven solution, and that is permanent supportive housing, which is we just go and scoop them off the street, give them a free place to live, because they're not going to get off the street themselves. And so do we want to pay for them to go from the hospital to the jail to the streets to the hospital to the jails to the streets, which costs us 3 times more than what it would cost just to house them and give them good case management? In other words, a person that monitors them, says, you know, what are your needs individually? That's the only method that's worked research-wise. And Houston has reduced street homelessness 50%. The state of Utah, 80%.
Wow.
So using this model.
So that's the people who really, really, truly need help. What about the others who could get a job? What about those people?
Well, let me...
And how do you differentiate between the two? How do you determine this person is in this category, can help himself, and this person is in another category, will never be able to help himself?
And let me tag to that question, because in writing this, there is what I noticed, there's different levels of homelessness. One being a new trend in young and homeless. And there is this...
The homeless by choice is what she's talking about. Yes. Traveling, transient homeless. That population I'm not even discussing. In other words, I don't even... Here's what I'm worried about. I was telling Kelly out in the green room about the family that I interviewed, and you could see on my Facebook page. You know, you have a mom, a dad that's working, a 13-year-old girl, and a 17-year-old boy living in a hotel room for 7 years. Why? I won't tell you their circumstances. You can see on my page. But the point is, if somebody's been evicted, they can't get an apartment anymore, so they have to live in a hotel. Yeah. That's a horrible way to live. Are they homeless? Yeah. Do they need help? Yeah. We need to try to help them get some housing and get them out of a hotel, because that's no way. The child almost was made, well, matter of fact, I got 30 replies that everybody cried, because the 13-year-old looked at me and said, the biggest thing to me is I'm just embarrassed. I have to lie to my friends. I can't bring them over. I mean, it crushes you. So, you know, and there's homeless people in the woods because families in the woods, literally, because they're hiding. They're worried that if somebody finds out they're homeless, they'll take their children away, which they do. Yeah. So there's lots of categories, and we could discuss every one, but the main key, you know, each group has a solution that's been proven throughout the country, not my opinion. So we could use those, but the big key is you have the not in my backyard syndrome. Yeah, we need a transitional shelter, but not here.
Right.
But if you tell the public the truth of homelessness, they don't view it the way they did, and that's what's happened in the communities that have changed in Houston and et cetera.
And Tom, it sounds like those solutions are government based. We as a people, we the government, we the people do that. What about we the individual? What do we do differently? If we can't give canned goods, what do we give? Money?
I'm not saying. No, wait a minute. Let's not. I don't think Kelly was saying we shouldn't give canned goods. You just have to think. You want Pop Tops instead of ones that need a can opener. In other words, she wasn't saying don't give them, but don't give them something that's not going to be of use. Really try to educate yourself and think them through.
Right, and trying to understand that there's limited resources for people to carry or open or prepare this food. And so when you're giving, keep that in mind, because it's almost like meals ready to eat kind of a situation. It needs something along those things. And you know, like I said, in doing the research for the story that I wrote, I mean, I was told a variety of different things. And so I had to write in a way that I just said, I heard this, and I heard this, and I heard this. And, you know, laying it out there so people will do their own investigation and their own awareness. We have a phone call?
Yes, you do. You
okay.
do. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Thank you for waiting. You're on the air.
Good morning to all my fellow Americans, and Larry and Robin from WOCA. I'd like to thank you for having these good Americans in the studio talking about real subjects, like the gentleman in the studio that's out on the streets. I did see a story on Orlando News, and I thank him from one veteran to another. I just wanted to make a couple observations about homelessness. Also, that homelessness amongst the veteran population does represent a disproportionate amount of homelessness compared to their overall numbers domestically, unfortunately. And there is a move with this current administration to target that specifically. And that's not the overall solution. There are contributing factors. And I would just also say that from the 90s to 2014, the United States has lost, according to Forbes magazine, over 40,000 factories. And a factory, it has anywhere from 1,000 to 10,000 workers. So when we've lost the United States has lost over a couple million jobs, it's going to be a direct reflection on our social services, which is, everything from law enforcement to fire departments. So when the cops are, dealing with folks on the streets and not able to do another line of work, remember, everything is connected. And if we want families to go to church on Sunday and give thanks, there will be given thanks when there are thanks to be given. And it doesn't mean people aren't good-hearted, good-natured. Americans are, and they just need a place to make a living and regain their dignity and get the calluses back off of their feet and worn out back. So I thank the sailor in the studio, and I thank the lady from Ocala Style magazine, and I thank WOCA. And remember, jobs and crime and standards of living. And one closing note about SNAP, people on food stamps. When I was in the Marine Corps, my wife said to me when I was a corporal, a non-commissioned officer, Mark, we need WIC for our daughter that's about to be born. And I said, well, I don't think we need it. And then I realized after my daughter was born how expensive milk was. And when there's a political party in our country who uses austerity measures and are cutting a lot of things to give corporations tax loopholes so that corporations don't pay taxes, it comes right out of active duty soldiers' standards of living. So if we claim to be also patriotic, we may want to realize the ramifications of our votes. So if we really believe in Jesus, we might want to consider helping people over the corporations, and everything will take care of themselves.
Thank you so much for the call. Wow.
Yeah, before you go, I'd like to say something to you. I agree with every point you made there, and that's why I do what I do, because I firmly believe that what makes me different from everybody else is if I make the public aware, the solutions will come. I don't have to have an agenda and fight with every group. I can get every group behind ending homelessness and getting the truth out.
That's absolutely right. And I think that's everybody's goal that is involved. I know mine, for example, was to try and humanize the people on the street. I want people to walk past the guy that's sitting there or the lady on the bench and see them as their mother or someone's mother or someone's sister, and to put a human face and a name with these people. I write inside of this story that we are all simply one paycheck possibly away from homelessness.
That's right.
In this day and age,
but by the grace of God, go I, right?
It is very, very hard to save or have any kind of savings put aside. And, if a series of events happens, your company goes out of business, you lose your job, you get ill and can't work, and then you can't pay your rent, and it could be a domino effect, and the next thing you know, you are homeless. And that's why I always believe in paying it forward, helping people today, because you may need that help tomorrow. And so I thank you immensely for the knowledge and education that you're doing and the efforts you're making. I mean, I went out and spent a day interviewing where he's spending day and night. And so I commend you for that. And I do want to encourage everybody to please, if nothing else, go to Tom's Facebook page, Homeless and Hungry, like it, and support him.
Well, thank you, Kelly. That was quite a commercial.
Thank you so much, and thanks for having us.
Thank
Larry.
you. Yeah, and I liked it during the course of the interview. So
thank you so much.
I went to your Facebook page.
Thank you.
Great interview as always, Kelly. Thank you, Tom, for coming in, and be safe out there.
Thanks so much.
We'll get you some electric socks or something to keep your feet warm.
You won't take them.
Oh, you won't take them?
No, I won't take anything.
See, this is why I don't understand this part. All right, we'll be right back.
What makes you look so good? Why don't you love me like I know you could?
Fox News Radio, I'm Joe Chiaro.